So this is Danny Lewis with the Collaborate and Learn second session. This is with Steve Blackwax, and he sent me a couple of audio examples and I had to listen to those. He sent me the Cubase project of the one that he wants to focus on. So this is what we've got here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this for you now, and I'm going to go through an appraisal. Steve's not here at the moment. We're going to hook up after I've sent this out and I've uploaded it, so that he's going to take a look, as can everybody else. And then basically he and I are going to do a Skype session tomorrow. I'm going to record that just to go over some of the things that I've suggested to him. So let's take a look. So let's just come back to the beginning. Now, one of the things when I'm listening back is I'm just going to take a look at the master here. So the stereo out, this is basically just to check it's not going above the 0 dB point. You can see here that we've got plenty of headroom, so the maximum level at the moment minus 4.8. So he's done a good job of being conservative in terms of levels, but I get a feeling when things kind of develop a bit further, we may find they're getting a bit closer. So you can see here minus 4.3. Now interestingly, he's used the fader to kind of compensate a bit. So I'm going to take that back up as a kind of good practice guide. Just trying to remember the keyboard shortcut here as well. I wonder if it's command click. There we go, back to 0. I would encourage that. So keep the fader at 0, and then we're going to make sure that the level before it hits that fader is not too loud. So at the moment, you know, these faders here, potentially we could deal with these and group them together, but I'll show you a quick fix, and that would be to come here onto the top insert, come to Steinberg, down to EQ. I'm just going to use GEQ 10, which I can use as a kind of pre-master gain reduction. So I'm just going to go minus 3.3 here, and let's just see how that is. I think about minus 6 or so, which is where Steve was. So it's a bit busier now. Just going to reset here. So just checking to make sure that, you know, we're not going above the 0 on the master fader here. Now potentially, because there's other elements in the track that need to be, you know, they're going to come along. I have no idea what they're going to be just yet. But you know, still a minus 3 for all of the drums may be something that's a little bit too much. Now Steve's basically taken the outputs of his Groove Agent 1, which is the drum source. He's chosen a factory drum kit, and I'm just going to take a look at the sounds in a minute. But one of the things I want to show you guys is that if you want to have a bit more control, you know, like I was doing a quick fix here of this, you know, to basically reduce the level before it hits the master stereo out. Maybe instead it's better to group stuff together. Now each DAW has its own way of grouping, and what I'm going to do here on Cubase, it's a way to do it, is to set up a group channel. And this is basically, you can see it here, I'm going to call it drums, and then I'm going to feed the signal from all of these drum elements into that. So just dropping down at the top. It's just going to make things easier to manage on the project. So there we go. I always encourage a bit of you know, kind of organizational stuff, housekeeping. So now I can bring this down, say about minus 7 or so. Let's have a look. That's a lot better. Remember, when it comes to the individual channel strips here, if these go above 0, it's fine. There's tons of internal headroom. It's the stereo out where it cannot. But having all the drums into a group or a bus, you know, depending on what your system is, it means you've got control of the level of all those individual drums kind of routed through to that. So this is like kind of all drums, and you can balance each individual sound on the mixer. So I'm just having a listen, just getting a feel for it. I want to take off that reverb at the moment, see how it feels. It's quite a nice sound, that reverb. I might be inclined to bring it down just a touch. So that's the effect return here. Some of these channels will be feeding into that. Let's go listen in stereo. So yeah, I mean, I'm liking that as a beat at the moment. I'm going to do some further evaluation, but I'll tell you one of the things that I want to do is just to get things a bit more organized over here. Now, this Groove Agent 1, in fact, what I'll do is just show you here that this programming data is set up like this. So we've got a MIDI part with all of the programming in. Now, I'm not sure how this is developing. I'm just thinking that, yeah, pattern 1. So he's named these logically, which is great. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to take away, now it's flipping back to pattern 1 here. What I'm talking about here is going to make sense fairly soon. Let me just do this now so you get a feel for it. For me, I like to have individual control of MIDI of individual drum sounds. So if I want to just mute a kick or a hi-hat or whatever, I can do that at the MIDI stage. And visually to do that as well. So I've got a pattern here I'm going to show you. I'm going to control plus click, come down to MIDI and come down to dissolve part. So I'm going to take off optimize display, just have this separate pitches coming down, and if I click OK, you can see down here, and now we've got the individual sounds. So if I solo on here, that's the kick. I just need to name these, so there's a little bit of housekeeping to go here. And what I've got here, closed hat, clap 1. So you can see it starts to become a lot easier to do that arrangement for the rhythm. So Steve, particularly that's something that I would encourage you to do. So I've got what you would have classed as part 1 here. I have to do the same with part 2. So it's going to be a little bit of housekeeping here. So MIDI dissolve part. Take away optimized. There we go. These are down here, and these are quite possibly going to flow in the same kind of setup here. So this could be a kick. I need to double check on this. Let's just take the global solo off. Select over here. There we go. So that's definitely a kick on there. Same with the closed hat again. Now that's another kick there. So let me move this down. There's that clap again. So this is like kick 2. And that's nice little skippy 16th. So you can see here, it looks like you're alternating. So I'm going to take these away as a guide. Take that away, and now I can do this. So I'm just going to duplicate these. It looks like you had that running there for a bit, and then back to pattern 1, and then after that we are back on pattern 2. So some nice little bits of variation to keep it lively. I like to see that sort of thing going on. And pattern 3, pattern 4, there's going to be a few of these. Right, okay. So a little bit more housekeeping. It's going to be a little bit dry and dull for some of you to go through this, so I might edit this out so that it just gets to the end result. So yeah, it's very likely I'm going to do that. So let me just see. It's been a long day. My brain isn't functioning too brilliantly. Let me take these away, pattern 4. So you see what I'm doing. I'm trying to find the next instance. Oh, there we go. It's not going to be too bad. Really, we're just gonna deal with this now. Let's take that off. Just gonna do the same again. MIDI dissolve. Take away the optimized. These are down here. We shall see what they're bringing. Let me bring these up. And then this one here. MIDI dissolve part. Take off the optimized. It's a little bit annoying, all this stuff coming down here. So I would suggest for you guys, sort out the dissolve part stuff, breaking it down to its individual MIDI components on Logic. This is it used to be demixed by note pitch, but then it was like MIDI separate by note pitch, something along those lines. It's a little while since I've looked at Logic, so I can't tell you off the top of my head, but there is a similar thing for that for Logic as well. So let's just take a look at these. That's still a kick. This is something new. That looks like it could be the closed hat. Back again. This could be the clap. Yep. One of these could be the kick. Yeah, let me bring this down a second. That's good. So what we got here then? Snare. Just realising I've got to do the same over here. It's like another snare, like snare 2. It's almost like some kind of rim shot. So yeah, that's that. And then this other lot. Let me just take a look at these. Okay, so we've also got a open hi-hat. Just gonna have to shift these around. Just trying to go for a visual match on these at the moment. Yeah, do you know what? It's been a long day, so I'm going to ask Steve to do this. So you get the picture anyway. So what I'd recommend for you guys, before you start arranging, don't do it all in complete MIDI parts with all the MIDI data in. It's just going to make things really long-winded for you, and it's going to be harder to do some nice detailed editing visually. So this is a whole advantage here. We can really see the structure of the individual elements occurring with the MIDI programming. So that's my advice there, Steve. So you know what to do between now and then. But let me just focus now on the sounds and some of the programming. So ignore the labeling. Let's just have a look over here. Now it looks and sounds to me like there's some nice swing going on. I just want to confirm this. Just going to take a look at snare. There we go. So my swing level at the moment is 71%. I'm just going to analyze and see where your swing is. Just going to reduce this down. In fact, there we go. 80% swing. So it's quite a heavy swing. I like it. I like it. I think it's working nicely. To be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of that rim shot sound. I like what's going on here. I just want to take a look at also some of your elements. Right, let me take the global snare solo off. Let's have a look at this. Just want to do a little bit of analysis. As you can see, I haven't got any heavyweight headphones on. I've just got a pair of not quite iPad earbuds or iPod earbuds. Similar vibe though. But I can feel this maybe some kind of big energy on that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look using this Voxengo Span, which is a free analyzer. Let's have a look, see what's going on. Yeah, I thought so. So what we got is quite a lot of sub bass down here, and also a real abundance of high frequency energy as well. Don't think that library drum kits are kind of pre-mixed. You know, a lot of the sounds on library drum kits are actually quite rough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this down. So there we go. So I just made a copy. So that was Alt plus drag. So I've got one span before. I'm going to have another span after over here, and I'm going to drop in an EQ. See if we can see this. I haven't got a very big screen on this laptop, alright, so you're not seeing everything. So I'm going to drop in Cubase's EQ Studio EQ. That's here. And so before and after. Let's switch on a low cut. And I'm going to take this a bit higher. There, look. Can you see now? Less low subby energy. And the kind of fundamental energy of the sound is around here, so 300 or so. I could potentially go a bit higher. Don't want to take away too much here. Now let's look at the highs. I'm going to drop this down as a high cut. Now that doesn't sound quite right, it's too much. But let me just take this up. So for me, I think that's sounding a lot better. It's not going to be too dominant in the mix. right? And you can see the difference on the bottom end and then on the top end. There you go. Because actually this whole 20k area, if you've got a sound that's got a lot of energy up there, it's going to take away a lot of headroom. So Steve, you know, as a starting point, what I want you to do is to take a look at what I've done here. I'm going to send you the file back so you've got my changes in terms of this, but I want you to just work on focusing on this stuff here. It'd be good practice for you to get involved with the dissolve MIDI anyway. And yeah, for me, the rim shot, not really feeling that so much. Obviously not focusing too much on mixing here at the moment, but just taking a look, you know, getting some ideas about that subject. I want you to go through these sounds and just see if there is anything that's got a little bit too much energy that doesn't need it. Basically, the only thing really that needs sub energy is your kick out of these elements. So the rest of these potentially could do with a low cut on there just to keep things much tidier. And watch out for an abundance of energy up at 20k. So you might want to see and check out some of the other sounds. The Voxengo Span plugin is free, so search Voxengo Span and you'll find it and install it. And you know, in terms of what you've done here, I like the fact you've got the progression, you know, this kind of progression between the different patterns, switching it around. You know, I think there's definitely potential here. I like the slower tempo. It feels a little bit electronic to me, and that's dictated by the actual kit that you've used here, this minimal techno kit. I would be curious to see how this sounds with another kit, so I'm going to switch now, and I'm not sure 100% which direction you want to go. Just want to see something of real total contrast. There's an aspect of that I like, some sounds that are not quite right. Let me just think about something else. I'm not familiar with every single one of these kits, to be honest. I'm just going to experiment. Definitely no. That sound was mad. It made me turn around. I thought it was like a 3D, but some kind of wave, noise wave behind me. What about this one? No. Maybe a case of putting your own sounds on, you know, dropping them on here. No, that's no good at all. But I can understand what you're trying to do. You're trying to keep it compatible so that we can switch these things really easily. No, I mean that one you started off with, some kind of minimal techno thing, wasn't it? Yeah, I mean, you know, listening back, that rim shot thing, I don't like that. The hi-hat feels a little bit kind of hyped. It's like a clipped 909 hi-hat. I'm not necessarily sure that's the right approach on this. So anyway, I'm going to send this back to you. Everybody can see the video, and if anybody's got any comments, put them down on the video on YouTube. Steve, see what you think. Get out all tidied, get the project looking good, send it back to me. Try and think about the kind of vibe in terms of the bass line or elements that you might be thinking about doing. Send me some musical examples of the style of stuff that you're looking to do. Alright, so what I'll do is on Monday, I just seen that Tracksource have just tweeted about my new release. And anyway, by the way guys, Optimistic, which is a new release, thanks to everybody who's been getting really hyped on that. There's been some really enthusiastic comments about it, particularly this vintage dub, which is my favorite mix. But anyway, just distraction there. So Steve, yeah, send me some musical examples, and what we'll do is we'll do a Skype call tomorrow. I'm going to record it, we're going to put the video up, and we're going to discuss some of the flavors, see what you think about the suggestions that I've made here as well. Okay, right, so that's Collaborate and Learn session 2 with Blackwax over, and I'll be doing another video tomorrow, Monday, and the date today is the 19th, so that'll be the 20th. Okay, so that's it for now.